Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse. And today we're gonna have a little sit down video because I've been doing gardening work and I've hurt my back. Did too much gardening work and yeah, my back is killing me for it, so guess I haven't learned. Only a fool fears not the garden. So today I thought I would tell you about my Bitcoin experience, what I've been messing around with. And no, I'm not a Bitcoin millionaire because they were stolen in Japan, otherwise I actually would be. Yeah, we'll get to that. I was told about Bitcoins back in 2013 by my cousin, and he thought it was an interesting thing. He had never done anything with it himself, he had just heard about it, and I checked it out, and at the time Bitcoins was, I think they were about $12 a piece or something like that, and I thought, this is very interesting, I should get some of those. But I had no money at that time, so I didn't do anything more about it. And then 2 months after, I was sick and at home, laying on the couch and waiting to get better, and had a remote for the TV, and I had a computer that I could control from the couch in the living room. And so I thought, well, let's check this Bitcoin again. And I did, and I found out that now it was at about $50 a piece. So I thought, holy moly, from $12 to $50, I better get in on this. So back at March 11, 2013, I actually transferred 3,000 Danish kroners, and that was enough to give me 10 Bitcoins. Just below 10 Bitcoin, 9 point something, 999 something. So I bought 10 Bitcoins back in 2013. Also, I thought this was interesting, so I started to Bitcoin mine. But I really wanted to get in on it, so I bought some Bitcoin to start with, which has turned out to be really smart. Then I started mining for Bitcoins, and first I just had computers mine, and then I was told that graphics cards was better at mining, so I also went out and I purchased a mining graphics card, which is this one. Which actually it has made its value back so many times, but it took a while. This graphics card, I started with some other graphics card that I had and found out that, well, they weren't doing very well, so I purchased this graphics card second hand, and it was about 1,200 Danish kroners on the used market, but my pride and joy at the time. So I spent a lot of time. At that point, it was a motherboard on a stand, and you put the graphics card down on top of it, and you installed some operating system, and you put the graphics card in, and you messed around with drivers. They weren't equally good, so at some point you needed an old driver, and you could also put a driver that wasn't really. This is an AMD Radeon card. You could get something, an alpha driver, and put that on there, and that would work better than the original driver. And then you messed around with overclocking the graphics card using MSI Afterburner to get the last little bit out of it. Actually, it was often quite a bit that you could increase productivity on your Bitcoin mining. And when you Bitcoin mine, you need so much computer power that if you are just gonna Bitcoin mine on your own hardware, it could take you like 10 years to get the Bitcoins. So what you do is you join a Bitcoin mining guild or something like that. And there you open an account and you register your miners, and when the miners are in there, they're giving chunks of this mining operation that you can do, and then the guild will be Bitcoin mining, and you get a percentage after how much work you have put into actually doing this Bitcoin mining for the guild. And yeah, it works really well. Back in the day there was all sort of trouble. There was like the guild that I was in, or the club or mining community group, regularly they would be under DDoS attacks and have to fight that off, and then it would be up again, and then it would be down again, and yeah, that messed a lot. I had this Bitcoin mining up here at my PlayHouse, and I could only like go check up on it in the weekends. So yeah, I would make sure that it ran Sunday night when I drove back to my apartment, and hopefully it would run sometime, and I would check up on it again Friday when I came here, and very often it would have crashed because I was overclocking the graphics card, and it would crash. And I got another graphics card. This one was also put into production and doing some Bitcoin mining, and well, I Bitcoin mined something like, on the system it says that I've made something like 3.7 Bitcoins doing this mining back then at 2013, 2014, and I kind of stopped around there. It became hard. Well, when you're Bitcoin mining, it becomes harder and harder, and everybody is buying better and better hardware, so you get less and less of a share of what you're working on. Plus it takes longer and longer, and graphics cards like this use a lot of power. And yeah, back in 2014 I kind of stopped, and then I started doing YouTube instead. At the same time I thought, well, at the time the Bitcoins they were really fluctuating, going up and down in price, and the investor Morten thought, well, if I sell the Bitcoins when they're high and then I buy them again when they're low, that's a way better business than actually mining them myself. So I transferred something like 12 Bitcoins to this place in Japan called MTGov, which were like a Bitcoin exchange. And I tried to sell them when they were high and buy them again when they were low, but I really very quickly found out that I didn't have the stomach for it. It was okay to sell them when they were high. I managed that a couple of times, getting a good price for them, but then waiting for the price to drop. If you might have bought them here, but you know the course will move up here, and I was so afraid to get left behind. So if they would raise in price too much, I would get really nervous and not wait until they would drop in price again. So sometimes I purchased the Bitcoins again too fast, and with the commission, and I lost kind of a Bitcoin on trying to do the market and making Bitcoins on that. I kind of found that I didn't have the stomach for this, so I just left them there, not buying and selling, and that turned out to be a really stupid thing, because in 2014 this Bitcoin exchange was hacked. Someone hacked it and stole Bitcoins and made the company insolvent, and they went bankrupt, and they're actually still under sorting out this bankruptcy from 2014. Might actually get some Bitcoins back at some point. It's 11.2 Bitcoins that I lost from that bankruptcy, so might still be a Bitcoin millionaire sometime. I don't know. I have no idea how many Bitcoins will come out of that, if ever any. I really thought Japanese people were more efficient than that. A small bankruptcy of a Bitcoin exchange, and it has taken 7 years. Holy crap. So maybe at some point I'll get some of those Bitcoins back. Who knows? I very much see this as funny money. I did an investment way back. 3,000 Danish kroners is about $500. Oh, it was a lot of money just at the time when I did this, but I have long written them off. It's like, it doesn't matter if I lose 3,000 Danish kroners back in 2013, but it would always be nice to see some of those back, because since it has gone really good for Bitcoins, each Bitcoin have been up and sniffing at around $58,000 each. So those 11.2 Bitcoins that I lost would be something like $600,000, which is a considerable amount of money. But well, someone hacked the Bitcoin exchange, and there was a lot of people that lost a lot of Bitcoins at a very crucial time. I think the Bitcoins was about $700 at the time of the hacking, and it wasn't great. I kind of lost interest in them after that. I must admit, I didn't have all my Bitcoins at that location. It's kind of, I transferred the Bitcoins from my wallet and to the exchange, and then the Bitcoin miners had worked they were kind of still working some of the time, and they were putting the bitcoins at another location. Just I thought I wouldn't invest all of them. I would just keep some. You can divide them up into very small pieces. So I had 2.46 Bitcoin sitting in my Bitcoin wallet, and they were still there, and I've just kept them there ever since. I actually just last week emptied out my at the mining guild. I had some small amount there that I transferred that to my wallet, and it was a tiny amount at the time when I was mining there, but it actually came out to be about $6,000 of bitcoins that I had accumulated in that. Not as if I had gotten any more bitcoins, but they had just gone up in price so much that it was a smaller fortune. But the big question is today, is it worth to Bitcoin mine? And I would say no. And so last week I did a small experiment. I don't know if you can remember it, but a few years, or was it last year? I think it was actually a few years ago, when I was playing with solar on the roof. I thought I would like to have something that can burn off some of the energy that I'm not using out there. On a sunny day here in Denmark, I don't have anything that can use all that power. So I got the idea, why don't I get a Bitcoin miner? And I have one. This is a Bitcoin miner. I actually did a couple of videos on it back then, so you can go and check those out. More or less, it has 3 PCBs that are stuck down between 2 fans. And on these PCBs I think there was like 44 processors on each, and they are specialized in Bitcoin mining. Then on top of this, it has this tiny little computer. This is a tiny little PCB with a tiny little computer in it. It has a network port. It has its own web interface. So the brilliant thing about this is that you have a Bitcoin miner, and all it needs is a network connection and power. So I put this in the basement on the solar power, and then when there was a lot of solar and the battery was fully charged, I could remotely from my computer just turn it on, and it would Bitcoin mine a little bit. Was it worth it? Probably not. I believe I paid about $160 for this, which was a considerable amount of money when I purchased it. Now that Bitcoin has exploded again, these are worth like twice as much. So I could actually sell it now and get twice the amount of money that I paid for it. But it's not really worth it. Power here in Denmark is really expensive. So I tested it last week, as I said, and I ran it for a day. And it used for about 100 Danish kroners in power. It produced about 17 kroners worth of bitcoins in that day. So it was a really bad deal. But it heated up the basement really nicely. It's noisy as heck. But just to put that into perspective, a graphics card like this, which actually has 2 graphics processors on it. You can kind of see that here. There's 2 graphics chips on the card. With a bit of tweaking and overclocking, I could get this card to run at just about I think it was a mega hash. That's just right around a mega hash. The Bitcoin miner here, which I don't have to do anything with, that will do 9.2 terahashes. So 9.2 thousand times faster than that GPU. So something has happened since we started this. I think that I might be able to handle just connecting it and powering it up so we can listen to it and maybe see it doing a little bit of work. Okay, so here it is on the table. I bought this from AliExpress from China. The power supply is a 12-volt power supply, and it has and it can supply 1800 watts, which is apparently 150 amps, and it's noisy as heck. The Bitcoin rendering Bitcoin miner is it's an e-byte, and it's the E9 Plus, and this will take in from 11.8 volts to 13 volts. so it's not that picky. And password is admin, and it comes with some IP number. I have changed that, or the internal IP number, doesn't matter. So you connect power to the power supply, and you connect the network connection to the network connection up here. And when you do that, it runs. So we'll just try that. It has a nice on-off button there, so you can power it without turning it on, which is really nice. So let's just power that and put in a network connection. And what it will do, it will start up, and it will start mine, and it will go ask my Bitcoin guild. So I forget what they call that, but we're gonna go check it on the computer, and we'll see in just a little bit. So let's just power this on. That's the power supply making a noise. In just a little bit, the other machine, those two fans will start up as well. There we are. And now I can't hear the servers anymore. So we're gonna go to the computer and see what it's doing. Okay, here we are in the living room, and as this is a Chinese miner, you can select Chinese and English. So we're gonna go for the English, even though and the password is still admin. Never changed that. I haven't used this much, but it has its own web interface, and it shows us here what it's doing. We get different alerts over here. I actually had a temperature alert when I was playing with it in the data center. I had it where it was now, and it became too warm. It became around 65 degrees, and it gave me alert, and you can set those alerts over here when to do that. At the moment it says that it's doing just about 9,000 gigahashes, and in here you configure where it should deliver its packages to and from. So I am a member of this slush pool, where that's where I get my fractions of Bitcoin workload, and it's a very big pool. There is 145,303 active workers in here, where my tiny little Bitcoin miner out there is just one of those many workers right now. It sees what I'm doing, and over here I get some numbers of how much it's worth, the work that I'm doing right now. This will go up. Right now it estimates that I will get this amount, which is a tiny amount of a Bitcoin in this current block. So it's doing different blocks, and we can see here how far it's worked on this block. Some of the blocks, well, it might find the results just within the first 2%, and it's done with that block, and we can quickly go on to the next block. The next block we might have to do 99% before that one is done. We can see we're about 47% done with this block, and we have been working 3 hours and 20 minutes, and that is 145,000 systems working on this block with e-hashes. So mine was a terahash, and then there is petahash, and then there is this e thing, which I forget what it's called, but it's 1,000 times more than peta, right? We can already see that the amount that it estimates that I'm gonna give from this block has gone up, but it's things that I've been working on this block the entire time, and when the block is done, it calculates how much I'm really gonna get, and it does that down here, and that amount is put up here. So I've actually made this amount, which is not a lot. It's I don't know, it's a few dollars, I guess. But let's go back to the mining rig, where we can see more stuff. We can see here how long it has been working on this. We have now been working 7 minutes, or almost 8 minutes, and it's connecting to the sludge pool up here, where it's gonna get its stuff and where it's gonna deliver its results. And there is other stuff in here. There's nothing really critical. It just does some work, and then it delivers it over here. But it uses a lot of power, and it makes a lot of noise, and we can kind of see that over time this hash rate will go up. We are at 3.428 terahashes right now. Within an hour it will tell us the right amount of hashes that we are supplying. But I could have multiple of these Bitcoin miners and all of them would go up here. So we can go over here and check our workers. And we will see we only have that one worker that is working. So if I was a big Bitcoin miner, I could have tons of workers down here. I could also have my computers working on Bitcoins. It's not worth it. They can only do a tiny amount of work compared to what one of these dedicated pieces of hardware will do. Back to the main board, we can actually see here that I have made 3.732114449 Bitcoins. That's the total amount of Bitcoins that I have mined. And my last payout was 1 week, 3 days ago. And should we just see those payouts there? So we can see that I did a payout there and that was 0.17 something. Is that I might have been overdoing that amount. I don't think that comes out to $6,000. It might have been 6,000 Danish kroners. Sorry about that, my mistake. And those goes to my Bitcoin wallet, which is this address, which is not secret. If you are one of the evil dudes that stole 11.2 Bitcoins from me, you can put them back here, please. Thank you. Well, we can also see that I haven't done anything since the end of 2013. Where I kind of stopped Bitcoin mining and I didn't do anything. We can see, oh, there's a page 2. Okay, so I bought the first Bitcoins on the 11th of March and a month later I got the first Bitcoin mining payout. That's a really nice amount of today's standards. Back then it was a lot easier. 2013, you can see all of that. But so I was like Bitcoin mining for 8 months or something like that, and then it became too hard. You can see the last amount that I transferred was less than all these, so it became harder there, and I could see that it would take way too long for me to get some Bitcoins. Here it was like 14 days between payouts, well, 20 days, and so I can see that Bitcoin has gone up a little bit, $3,000 almost today, so that's a good thing. It has been dropping for some time. You can kind of see it was high here, almost 58,000, and now it's down to a dip. But you get blinded by this. And if we go back to the dashboard here, and we see I'm almost Bitcoin mined 2 days last week, I think, and I made this amount. So if we copy that and we put it over here to this exchange, you can see that Bitcoin is worth 317,222 Danish kroners. So if you put that amount in here, we get that it's worth about 30 Danish kroners. And if we switch that to American dollars, that is just below $5. That might sound like a good deal, that it makes $5 in like almost 2 days, but it has used $16 of power in just 24 hours. So it's a really bad deal. It might have made $5, but it used $13 in power. Power is expensive here, and if I could run it full time of solar, it would be a lot better. So yeah, that was a bit about my Bitcoin mining experience. It has been a lot of fun. 1,200 Danish kroners was a lot for this graphics card back then. I just did the calculations. It Bitcoin mined for what would today be worth 190,000 US dollars. So it has done a good job. Let's just say that. Unfortunately, part of that was stolen and part of it was, well, me messing up trying to trade Bitcoins on the exchange, which I weren't very good at. I didn't have the stomach for it. So I'm not gonna recommend mining for Bitcoins at the moment. There might be other cryptocurrencies that are worth it to mine, but if you want to invest in Bitcoin, I would just buy some. If I had taken those 1,200 Danish kroners and just bought Bitcoins instead, I would have had 5 more Bitcoins instead of the 3.7 that I had mined. That would have been 1.3 Bitcoins more that would have been stolen. But yeah, I don't think Bitcoin is gonna be a bad investment, even if you buy it now. Maybe don't buy an entire Bitcoin, that's a bloody lot of money. I don't think it will be a bad investment to put some funny money in there. Like, I invested 3,000 Danish kroners back in 2013. I just I didn't show you that, but I did. And that was kind of an amount that I was willing to lose on this bet. Back in 2013, I had no idea if this was gonna work. I could see that a few months back it had been like, holy, if I had invested 3,000 Danish kroners back then, that would have been a lot of Bitcoins. But it's always so easy to look in the rear mirror and see what you should have done. It's way harder to look in front of you and see what you should do now. I shouldn't have moved my Bitcoins to the exchange. That was definitely a bad investment. So there are other cryptocurrencies out there, and each cryptocurrency is usually connected to something. Well, if you use this cryptocurrency, you earn it this way, and you do this and you do that. There's a lot of them that is mostly investment. So they build a cryptocurrency and they are hoping that a lot of people will buy them in the hopes that it will go up. And yeah, I don't think those are very good. But then again, that was what I did with Bitcoin. I saw a graph that it was going up and I thought, well, let's buy some of those. They're going up. So you can get lucky, but the safest bet would be to get something that is connected to something else. Ethereum, I think, is also a good one, but there's a lot of others that I don't know diddly squat about. Probably look at the ones that has been around for the longest, and don't gamble with money that you don't have. So that was my Bitcoin experience. Unfortunately, they're not able to help with my back in any way. But if you wouldn't mind giving this video a little like down there, that's always nice. Now I'm not Bitcoin mining as much as I used to. Now I'm playing the YouTube game instead. So the like helps in this, and it's way more fun. Bitcoin mining, there are no people around. Now I have all of you guys, and you're very welcome to leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're one of the guys that stole 11.2 Bitcoins from me, I would very much like them back. And I might just leave that link for my Bitcoin wallet down there. So if you return them, I'm willing to see past this. I really am. Thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. And have a really nice day. Bye bye.